In the wildwood of accounting, we all know garbage data in means garbage data out. The same thing applies to your body. As a C-suite guy who obviously lifts, I want to be just as sharp in the boardroom as I am in the weight room. I don't have time for guesswork supplements or flashy nonsense, and that's why I use Redcon One. Clean ingredients, real formulas, stuff that actually works when you're training at 5 a.m. at the gym or burning midnight oil in your month-end grind. So whether you're an accounting bro, finance bro, or business leader in an NGO, if you want more energy, better recovery, and fewer excuses, this is your sign. Head to redcon1.com and use promo code BIZBUYSANDBS for 20% off. Don't just audit your numbers, audit your nutrition by leaning into America's favorite supplements at Redcon One. Yeah.
Business, biceps, a little BS. Fitness mixed with finance, now you're really gonna see us as we're learning, growing. All your minds we're blowing, earning while we're burning. Shirts are tight so gains are showing. Resolve, evolve, absolve, it's time to make a move. Better check yourself, cause if you're doubting, no, we got the proof. Voices speaking loud, cause we're proud about what we can do. Tickling your ears with CPE, rooted in the truth.
So I have to start with this because I think it's hilarious. We're down there in Miami. We've written this rap. So when you come into this podcast, you hear the rap that we created with the rapping CPA Drew Carrick out of Boca Raton, right? Yeah. And so we're having fun. He's got this whole rap thing going. He's starting off the day, and I got to tell you, in California, when we did it at the California CPA stuff, these people, like, first of all, it was a dark room. They had lighting and everything like that, so it was a much different feel than when we were down in South Florida.
Yeah, it probably wasn't at 8 a.m. either.
Oh my gosh! Like, I mean, we had guys in suits and ties. I was like, these guys look like they're about to go get sued by somebody. It's so funny. So he comes out. He's doing this rap, and he goes, yeah, let me call this guy up from the back. So I'm in the back. We had planned this whole thing. It's like, it's gonna be great. We're gonna walk up, and I'm gonna start rapping as we come in, and I turn around, and no one's bobbing their head. Literally, no one's bobbing their head. And I'm like, dude, we have this rap. Like, there's music going, and it's like, what are we doing wrong? This is Miami. This is where Ice, Vanilla Ice, put the Miami in the bass sound, right? It's like
I had people to the left of me and to the right of me. They were moving their head like, and I will tell you, like, as someone, as a performer, someone who gigs, I play in a cover band, and so what happens is, like, even if you don't like the song but you know it, you're moving your head, and that's the only goal of anyone ever performing on stage any place. Move your head. That's it.
It was so funny, dude, because I looked at it, and at one point, in fact, the one piece that they posted on LinkedIn, which is hilarious. I love Shelley Weir. I love the episode.
Oh, Shelley's the best. Shelley's the best.
The one thing they posted was it showed Drew standing next to me and me going like this. Hey, come on, guys, get the energy. Like, what are we, a bunch of CPAs in here?
You got to do that at 5 p.m., not 8 a.m. Because man, they will drink you under the table. Like they definitely.
Look, there's what is it? On the scale of alcoholics, there's toll booth workers, and then there's accountants, and then there's lawyers.
and then the dentist underneath that.
Dentist right underneath that. Oh my gosh. So Marc Egort, did I say that correct?
Yeah, you said it perfectly. That's exactly right.
I tend to enunciate. That's what my mom used to tell me.
And growing up in school, it was only math teachers who could do it right. The English teachers couldn't.
Well, I actually had a geometry teacher who would do this thing. It's like if you, it's actually on Instagram right now. It's like going on all the socials about people being able, like they take this piece of chalk or something and they do this thing where they can draw like a circle behind them, like a perfect circle. And so I had a geometry teacher. His name is Gary Kastner, and if he's still around, he'll never listen to this because I don't think he knows what a podcast is. But he was straight out of the '70s, man. And he's like, hey man, he's like, math is life, man. And he would always, like, when there were waves. Because I grew up in Satellite Beach, Florida, so we could actually see on the second story of our middle school. You could see the beach, you could see the waves. And so if it was if the swells were coming in, dude, like half the school wasn't in school. Like they were all skipping school. And Gary Kastner was one of them. He's like, yeah, cancel class. Like, you can't cancel class. This is a middle school.
But you know what, though? But the thing about waves,
running across the street.
but waves are part of geometry, right? You have to measure certain things in there. So
it's like, it's God's math, man. Just got to get in that tube, bro. But he could do it. He could do it. He'd take his thing. And we of course, geometry, it was perfect for him.
Yeah.
He would take that piece of chalk, because I went to school when there were chalkboards, not whiteboards. And you know, so like Minority Report now, it's like, here, I'm going to throw you a file. Boom, you catch it, and you look.
Right. Figure it out, exactly.
No, this was chalk.
No, I was chalkboard era, believe me.
He would do this circle, and then he would teach us about arcs and like how the pi times radius squared, all that other BS, right? So so funny. No, I'm super excited to have Marc Egort, a CPA, amongst other things that you do. And we met at the Florida Institute of CPAs South Florida Accounting Conference last year, and what I found specifically resonating about you personally is that when you came up to me, you actually looked me in the face and said,
Don't do
hey,
that anymore.
that was pretty cool. And I was like, oh, why are you looking me in the eyes? I feel uncomfortable. Look at my shoes like everybody else.
Right.
No,
it's a lost art. It really is, right?
I love my Florida CPAs. That's my hometown. That's my home society. I kid, but no, the CPA world it's big, but it's small. And I think that Shelley Weir and Kim and what they're all doing down there is fantastic work. In fact, we're going to be back with them. And I think June is the mega.
It is mega.
And so we'll be back there for mega.
Nice.
And no, just super excited to have you. But one of the things that I thought was really fun is that you came up and you're like, hey, listen, you were mentioning a couple things specifically about students and like developing young professionals and really talking about, I mean, what's the onus on us? Mentorship, right? How do we develop these? We all say we have a pipeline problem. The pipeline problem is that we don't want to pull them out of the pipe. It's like the Mario thing. It's like doom, 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 right? You go down that green pipe, and then you come out the other end, and there's like a fire, one of those fire plants. It's like it just grabs you.
That's right. That's a great analogy.
You know, so. All I'm saying is that you had the personality, and I will tell you from all my experience of being a CPA, when I met you, I thought, oh, is this guy a CPA? So with that introduction, tell me about yourself. Tell me about what you're doing down in Miami. Give me some background because I think people need to know who you are. Because you are you are the breed of CPA that I want to coalesce with.
Wow, I appreciate that so much. So, you know, it's interesting. We'll get back to the mentorship part in a minute. But so what I often tell people is, like, if you want to define yourself by what you do for a living, you can do that. I find that to be limiting. Right. So I don't really define myself as a CPA. It's a skill set that I have. Right. We've all trained for it. We've gone to school. We've had all these experiences using those skills. But I find that when people define themselves by what they're passionate about, that tells you who they are.
Yeah.
I'm a passionate musician. I love music. I've been playing drums over 50 years. I love it. I've been playing the bass guitar now and enjoying that journey.
Nice.
I'm playing a couple different bands. Like, it's just, for me, like, the musical outlet, there's nothing like it. Performance is my drug. Mm-hmm. I really, really love performance. And I can just be playing for the bartender. I can be playing for 100 friends. I don't have 100 friends. I can, you know, whoever's out there.
My one friend.
My one friend, whatever. Maybe that's the bartender. Who knows?
I'll be your friend. You have two.
And now I got 2 friends. Beautiful. Now we're friends. But that's the point. Like, the joy is the same. You're up there. You're expressing yourself musically. You get to do. I get to do that. Mm-hmm. I get to take my instrument, express, play, bring joy, feel the joy of music. You know, like we talked about earlier, like the song, don't like the song, it doesn't matter. You're moving your head, right? And now with this journey that I have on playing bass for the last several years, like, I get to get out from behind the drum set now. I get to really engage a little bit further the audience. So it comes down to performance, which is engagement, right?
Well, now you also get to wear a different outfit. Don't you get to wear, like, shades and a cool hat?
They don't let me wear a cool hat because they want the light reflecting off my head.
Nobody should ever have light reflecting off their head. What do you think you are, Joe Rogan?
You know what? They can dress me however they want. It doesn't matter.
That's right.
But
So do you slap that bass? Do you beat that dog? Like, is that how you do
I'm
it?
not at that level. So the way I define myself with that is I'm a root note wonder. I'm really good on the root notes. I haven't quite developed the facility yet to be as fluid on bass as I have been on drums over the year, and that is okay. It's all part of the journey.
That is 100% okay. So I learned early on when I took guitar lessons as a kid that if you wanted to be a rock star, you just had to know 4 notes, and you just had to play them loudly. Wham, 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 you know, just play them in different orders, and you can play any song from Guns N' Roses. I grew up with the Guns N' Roses, the Poisons, you know, those types of bands, the big hair bands, and when it was out there, man, it was like when hip hop was just making its presence into the radio scene. And so it was dominated by just heavy guitars. You know, the bass was holding the line, but you had crazy drums in the background. No, it was I love music. I love how music can attach you mentally to a specific point in time, right? And the nostalgia that's immediately made when you hear you could just hear one note. In fact, they made an entire a game show out of I can guess that tune in 1, 2, 3 notes, right?
And nobody's immune from that. Nobody's immune from it. It's like music is everywhere.
It's like the smell of your first girlfriend's perfume. And it's like you smell it. Even though I'm 48, if I smell that smell, I'm gone, man. It's like,
you're right.
What would have been?
You're right. You're absolutely right.
I'm gonna get in trouble for that one. I hope my wife doesn't listen to this one. No, but that's the thing. Music, sense, like all these, it's all sensory. And what I think is really fascinating, and pulling this right into accounting and accounting instruction. Someone's like, someone just got erect. They're like, you can't do that. Like, first of all, we play improv rules here. It's yes and. There's no buts, right? But if you really think about what we do from an accounting perspective, CPA oriented, whether you're a fraud examiner, internal auditor, whatever, across the spectrum, what we find in that world is that it appeals to all of our senses. Like there's something valuable about what we're doing. Our heart races not because we think we're going to get pulled over by the cops or you know put in handcuffs, but because, oh my gosh, you just found something that maybe I can help this client out, or maybe I found something like, we might need to talk to the board on this one, right? But the thing is that like when I'm in accounting, I'm all in. Like first, usually, by the way, when I'm doing, so I can't do this when I'm writing. When I'm writing, I need to have just something that's just kind of just music in the back, like just subtle music. But when I'm doing like numbers, I can actually like put a movie on it and just kind of like passively listen to the movie. But what I'll normally listen to is I'll listen to Daft Punk, I'll listen to Deadmau5, all those like EDM styles. Because again, what I do is it takes me a second to kind of get down into that mode. You know what I'm talking about, right?
But it's how you process. That's your processing method.
And once I'm in the matrix and that beat is going, and I got you know, it's just like I'm going.
Yeah.
So I mean that's now I've actually read I've read articles that have said that I'm actually debilitated because I should be able to do this without music. That I'm actually handicapping myself because I'm forcing my brain to have stimulus in order to be able to do these core functions of my job. And I'm like, first of all, that's all BS. It's like you can keep writing those articles because you don't like music during the day because you're a no fun person. It's like I like to just have an energy about me when I'm doing what I love to do. And when I'm running through a really difficult task, kind of like when you're going through traffic, you turn the radio down. It's like, okay, I need to focus. If I'm running through a really difficult task, it's like, okay, I'll turn the music down a little bit. It's like really focus in on this. But otherwise, jam that radio up. The bass. I have a subwoofer in the office at the Bananas, and I'm on the 2nd floor. If you go downstairs, you can hear it going dum dum dum, right? And they're like, oh yeah, Naddy's working, man. Naddy's working.
Yeah, you're at work.
It's awesome. I love it.
Yeah. And nobody, you know, like. Your process is your process. Whether somebody wants to write an article about whether this is good or bad doesn't matter. What matters is that that's how you get work done. It doesn't, you know, it doesn't create a negative. It doesn't create, you know, a positive. It just creates an environment that you're comfortable with. So
it's the energy that I need in order to make my world. In fact, what you will find is that, so at the Bananas, I have this really interesting setup. So when we first moved into our new building, there's 3 offices that are very, very prominent as you walk in. And it's, by the way, it's like kind of a warehouse. It used to be an antique mall, and so the walls don't actually go all the way to the ceiling because for airflow purposes. That's pretty much it. Yeah. So basically, they were just cordoning off. Like, hey, this is that little girl's room, and this is like an outside scene because it was antiques, right? There was like slots that people would. Oh, I bought this from slot number H, right, or letter H. So all the walls only go up so high, and I looked at it and I was like, "Hey, listen, I appreciate the nod for putting me, right between the CEO and the president. That's fantastic. My problem is that I'm going to be having conversations that I can't have this flow over the walls. Right, so I need to be a little bit pushed away, like very, very accounting. Like my entire career, I've been trying to get out of a box. I'm like, put me in a box. So I put upstairs in the top corner, and what I did is as they were coming in. Everywhere we go. Okay, talking about senses, right? You talk about hearing and smelling and all that stuff. I 100%, 1000% believe that fluorescent lights literally suck the soul out of people's bodies. I think it's the reason why people in office settings have cancer because of fluorescent lighting. And so I told them when we were building this out, said I want no fluorescent lighting in my office. I want canned lights, and I want dimmable. I want LED lights. I want dimmable lights. And they're like, well, none of the rest of the office is like that. I was like, I'm not the rest of the office.
Figure it out.
My vibe. This is how it works.
Figure it out. Exactly.
I would work in the dark if I had to. But so my office, when you come in. So I'm in my office, and I share the office with 3 of my staff. And people come in there, and there's the music's playing, the lights are a little bit different. They come in and like, dude, this has a really cool vibe. I'm like, yes, and that's the point. When you come into my finance office, I want you to feel relaxed because many times when people approach finance and accounting offices, they don't want to look stupid. And so because they're like, oh, I gotta go talk to the accountants, and of course the accountants are gonna like, ho, you don't know these things. Like, no, that's not us. We're very familiar. Come on in, sit in the chair, let's have a conversation real quick.
Yeah.
And so, but that's kind of my vibe, man. I like that.
Similarly, in our conference room where we do meet with most of our clients, is we have it reflects a lot of my musical influences. I have posters of jazz artists, of other drummers. Cool. I have record albums in frames, all the ones that like really influenced me in my playing over the years. It's like a big music room. And so it immediately puts people at ease because they're going to get ready to talk about maybe some sensitive information.
Sure.
And we're just having conversation. Like there's, I don't know anything until you tell me something.
Well, and what I like about that is that what you normally get when you walk into, and again, I'll point the finger in, when you walk into a CPA firm, right? You see just like the vanilla CPA firm. You might see some degrees on the wall. If you go in someone's office, they have the wall of me, I call it, right? Where look at all the certifications I have. Look at my degrees. Look at how awesome I am. It's like, dude, no one cares. No one cares. What I want to know is, are you going to relate to me here? Do you understand what I'm bringing to the table right now? So when you go into your conference room and it has that little flair of personality, people relax. They're like, oh, this is a person across the table. I can share my deepest fears of my financial, ongoings, and they're gonna not only will they understand. I'm here at a CPA firm. They understand that, but I can also relate to them as a human. Like, oh, I like music too. Cool. Right. Let's start the conversation there.
And you have to have the ability. The way I like to describe it is the empathy, right? So the ability I like to proclaim is that I can meet you at Taco Bell or I can meet you at Capitol Grill or anywhere in between. It doesn't matter. We can have a conversation that doesn't make you feel like I'm speaking down to you, and it doesn't make you feel like you have to speak up to me. We can meet where you are comfortable, because our job as accountants, as CPAs, is to make the information relatable. I cannot assume that if I start talking to them about retained earnings and basis, that they know what I'm talking about. If they did, they don't need me. So I don't want to use language that is unfamiliar to them. Our job is to really get to the essence of what they need to know. because they're the ones who have to affect a change, right? We have to either change their behavior or have them make maybe a different decision, or maybe give them confidence or validity in the decision that they did make. But if we're not speaking language that either one of us can do anything with, that's lost, and you're not going to get their confidence.
Yeah, and one of the things that I think that CPAs, just in general, that we do, and we don't realize we're doing it, is we're kind of giving off this this kind of vibe of this. I hate to say it, kind of an air of superiority, and that we really know our craft. So how dare you question me type stuff. And I think that's one of the things that people really when they like the fact that we have those skills, but they also don't like the fact that some of us kind of use that more in a way of again, stepping up the conversation. Like, not that I'm better than you, but it's like it just comes out that way, you know. And so it's kind of like the times that, you know, we talk to lawyers, they start rattling off section and verse of like a certain, you know, statute. Well, that's your job. You should know that stuff, but don't bark it at me as if you've known this for many years.
So,
you literally just asked ChatGPT to tell you what it was, and now you're just repeating it to me in a very strange way.
but I have a theory about that, and it's not very charitable, but it is what it is. I feel that if the professional feels, you know, an intrinsic need to have to do that, there's an insecurity built in there someplace.
Okay, that's fair.
And we all have them. I have them. I mean, none of us are immune from insecurities. But I just think in the professional environment, there's a time and a place, right? And so if I'm trying to have a conversation with a client because I need information to help them, I need them to feel as secure as possible to be able to relate with me as best we can. And I kind of feel like the strongest or the best accountants or professionals that I see who know how to work with people, because they understand that not one box fits all. They understand that different people have different levels of comfort with information, with dialogue, with how they receive information, and you kind of have to meet them there. That's part of your job. And if all you feel that you can bring to the table is barking out, you know, chapter and verse and information about tax codes and this and that, without making it either appropriate or relatable, I don't think that's the job. I think you're missing out on opportunities, because the truth is, I'm not going to want to spend time with someone who's not listening to me first, right? We kind of have to, we have to listen, weed out with some of the stuff that may not be appropriate, and spend time on the problem solving.
Yeah, and no, that's true. I think, and that comes down to what we were talking about down in South Florida, which is there's a storytelling element to our craft, and I think that I think it can be taught earlier in the process. I honestly think it should be taught at the university level. Yeah, you take your cost accounting, your tax one, your business law, what have you. I think a mandatory class in that curriculum should be some kind of storytelling element. And what does that look like? It could be a film class. It could be like a poetry class. I know that sounds really weird, but it could be something.
I took one.
Right. But the thought is that like I would love to see sequential art, like comic book writing, right?
Yeah.
Because then you're almost storyboarding out a situation, and there's an arc there. There's a beginning, there's a middle, there's an end. You have characters, you have flow, you have drama, you have dialogue, all of these things that come together.
And I love this analogy. This is fantastic.
And then once you pull it together, you look at it and you go, well, what did we just do? Well, we told a story, but what did we tell a story about? I don't know. It's about some girl, some guy, they fell in love, something happened, drama, and then they got back together, like the classic, Hallmark movie. But the fact of the matter is it went up, it went down, went up, and it went down. It went this way, that way, but it resolved somewhere. There was a story there, and it built upon. It gave me, oh my gosh, pucker. Oh, I'm so glad. We can do the same thing. But our underlying words, if you will, are numbers.
So let's use that analogy. And so even no matter what service we're offering, right? So even at the basic accounting or tax level, or maybe on our fractional CFO side, what I start with is this: you, the business owner, I want to hear your story because I want to know if these financial statements support that story.
Absolutely.
Oftentimes they don't. And that's when I know that there's a different level of questioning that has to happen. If your financial statements don't support the story, because the truth is nobody's going to advocate for your business better than you, the business owner.
100%.
You know what's happening. And if you don't, show me someone in your organization who does. Someone has to know. And so if these financial statements don't support the story, we have a disconnect someplace, and we can't help you until we know what the data actually says right now. Right. So that was a perfect analogy.
What I like about that approach is that if you have an owner, let's say you have the founder, and let's keep it simple. Let's say it's a 10-year-old business. It's maybe they're making $5, maybe $10 million, which is a good business, of course, depending on how much profit it is.
Sure.
Let's say it's a $10 million business. So it's an average small business, and you look at this, and you have the mom and pop in the room, the founder, and you're asking them, tell me your story. Like, how did you get here? What is your passion? And you're looking at the financial statements going, that doesn't marry up with what you're saying.
Right.
Did you know that your company is not supporting your story?
Right.
Now, they lean in and they go, wait a second, run that by me again?
Right.
And now you're like, okay, this is where the relationship starts.
Now we're engaged,
they are
right?
bought in. It's like, so tell me why those numbers don't support what I just said. Well, okay, let's talk about this account, and now you're building the story. Here it is. Right. And it's not that you're bringing it to a crescendo just to drop something bad on them. You're trying to show them like, hey, this is you on paper, right? This is your passion on paper, and everything you just told me that was important to you, it's not being communicated the same way.
Right.
But I can help you get there. We just need to have some conversations with your vendors, maybe one of your banks, right? We can restructure this stuff so that it does align with where you think your passion is, right. And after that, then your numbers actually match your story, and right. you go forth and be awesome, right? Yeah. You're exactly right. I think that the storytelling aspect of just CPAs in general, I think we get locked into where. I had a gentleman say, you have the descriptions on one side, you have the numbers on one side, right? What happens is that people get so locked into all the numbers side, they forget what the descriptions are even saying. Right. And so, well, that's a big number. Yeah, but it's a big number on this. What is it describing? Do you even know what's happening in that account? Right. And so the question is, if you don't, it's time to learn where your biggest number is, right? Right, right. So I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you. That's a fantastic way to approach that kind of discussion.
We often start a conversation if I get a phone call or someone's meeting me for the first time. I'll just sit down and say, "Tell me everything." I mean, that'll be the title of my book, right? Tell me everything. My life as an accountant. but here's the thing: they want to. Because you're getting nuggets of information, and our job is to go ahead and try, like problem solving on a test, right? What result are we looking to achieve? And let me figure out what data you're throwing at me that supports that solution or doesn't support that solution. That's the problem solving skills that we as professionals and CPAs are alleged to have. That will, because there is a lot of stuff that's probably a weed out. There's also nomenclature, right? There's interpretation of the information on the financial statement. Is that truly a cost of generating the revenue, or are you making an investment of something to generate that revenue, right? Mindset. A lot of this is mindset, right? Yep. So it's getting a perspective on connecting operations with the financial data. And, look, there was a time in my career, like I was running my CPA practice like an accountant. And the decision model I was using was like, can I afford to do this? Can I afford to do this? Can I afford to do this? And then one day it occurred to me, I said, you know what? I can't afford not to do that. Once I did that, then that opened up all kinds of doors for me. Wow. Once I recognized that you make an investment in something, it may return, it may not, but you're going to be stuck where you are otherwise if you don't. Right, that's the risk in business. So when you made that decision, so I'm curious. So how long ago was this epiphany? Did this drop on you? 10 years ago. Okay, so 10 years ago, before that you were operating your firm in a way that was traditionally an accountant, very inside the box accounting way, right? Yeah. Then all of a sudden you had this epiphany of like, hey, I should probably just wear it.
and just go for it. When you did that, when you said everything opened up, what opened up for you?
So many things. So we'll start with learning to trust, right? I controlled everything. I controlled all the administrative, billing, everything, and the client maintenance, client management, and being the face of the firm. And then I realized, like, I was limiting myself because I wanted to control all that. Once I let go of control and I learned to trust my team to go ahead and manage all that on my behalf, that freed me up and liberated me to get a little bit more involved in the community, to seek out different types of work, to generate better relationships with the community and the clients that I had, to leverage them in order to continue to build and grow, and to grow into higher value work. Not just for us, but for the clients, to invest in the clients in a way that we weren't doing previously. Mm-hmm. So one of those first decisions was, I had a small team, we were working steadily. There was no particular issue. And then there was, who's now one of my partners in the CFO practice. You've met him actually, with Sam.
Yep.
And I'd said many, many years ago, it's like, Sam's a CPA, I have a team here. It's like, can I afford to hire him? I can't afford to hire him. You know what? I can't afford not to hire him. And in that mindset, like, I was able to build a practice around him, understanding what his strength was and understanding, because he has skills I don't have. He brought discipline into my practice that I don't have. I'm impulsive. Okay. I don't have discipline. I'm aware of this. I know these things about me. My strengths are is I can take chaos and I can make order out of it because I understand from a problem-solving approach or a solutions approach what information or data is important to get to that. But that's it.
No.
So it's understanding how to leverage your team in an effective way and how to invest in your team. And once I understood that, it paid dividends like I couldn't even begin to explain. So, and that is something that a lot of leaders don't understand.
Well, but see what you're saying. This is like straight wisdom. Like someone needs to just concentrate this juice and drink it because because what you're explaining is stuff that happens when CPAs, specifically CPAs, they get about 15, 20 years into their profession, and they kind of look around them and they're like, why am I doing this? And like, what is really the benefit? Like, I'm making a good salary, sure. I don't really see my family 4 months out of the year because I'm just cranking on this because this is my life. And they start looking at it and going, this is my life. And all of a sudden, it's like the sword of Damocles falls, and it's like just nicks your ear, right? It falls right between the thing, and but your ear's now bleeding. You're like, what in the world was that? Oh yeah, that was a lucky shot. You've now been given a second chance. So the question
ask it differently.
Okay, so where I'm going with this is that you had this epiphany, and it changed everything for you. When you wake up and go to work, do you enjoy going to work?
Yes, and so going back to what you said, like asking yourself the question, why am I doing this?
Okay.
Ask the question differently. Why am I doing it this way?
Okay, fair.
That's a different mindset, right? So do I enjoy going to work? Yes, I enjoy going to work for a lot of reasons. One, I enjoy the people I work with. They are my coworkers, not my employees. All right. This firm is not, yes, it has my name on it, but it is absolutely not about me. It is about what they do and what they contribute daily. This firm is nothing without them. And I'm here for the ride. But yes, I provide cultural leadership and vision, but they're the implementers. They're the ones who know how to run it and how to manage it and how to create that space for me. Mm-hmm. So I get to come to work. I enjoy that process, but I also have designed my life in such a way where certain things that are important to me, that how I define myself, whether it's somebody who trains or whether it's someone who does music or as a father, as a husband, I get to do all those things and I get to decide how and when that gets done. Having that ability, that is a game changer. So all my trainings I do, if I worked out this morning, I have martial arts training tomorrow, I have this, I have that, I have band practice at this time. I get to do that because I've designed a team, a process, a workflow that gives me the ability to do that. One of our marching orders here is if I don't work nights and weekends, I don't make that expectation of my coworkers because that's not fair. And so I don't work nights and weekends. I have a family. I have band practice. I got to take my kid to parkour. He's got martial arts training. I have whatever. I do not ask that of my team. If whatever their they know what their work responsibilities are. They do whatever they feel they need to do. But we don't ask them of that because the culture starts here. I don't do that.
But understand, it also doesn't mean that you've given up on the grind. You just redefined what the grind is within your context, right?
Yes.
And also, there will be nights when you have to stay stay a night or weekend just because that's when the crunch time happens. But it's an anomaly now to where it's like when it happens, oh, this is serious. Like we really need to get this done. Roll up the sleeves, order the pizza, get the coffee on because we have to get this done. This is important, and everybody buys into that because it's such a different way of looking at things. Whereas if it's just normal, people are like, oh yeah, it's another night, another 12-hour day, and I'm working on a Saturday night. It's like that is not normal.
It's not.
It's not. So the way that you're approaching it, I really like that. So now take this one step further. You're having a conversation with, let's say you're in a room with, and they've asked you to speak to, it's 20, 30, 40 people who are all firm owners, who have not experienced what you have just very eloquently discussed. How do you encourage them? Like, what was the sign or signs or what happened to where you finally looked at it and said, I've got to change what I'm doing because otherwise I'm either going to keep driving myself in the ground. What was that? Because are there tangible signs that other people can see that you look at and go, oh wait, this was a symptom. This was a symptom. Oh, I'm seeing it. I should give Mark a call. Hey, I think I'm seeing it. What do I do next?
Yeah, that is an excellent question. And so some of it starts with your mindset, initially, like, even when I had first put together a practice back in 1999,
they used to call the movies talkies.
Yeah, exactly. So you kind of have to decide what's important to you. And part of the discipline of understanding what's important to you is developing a plan around that and sticking to it. It's not easy.
Right.
I happen to have the good fortune of working closely with people who they get me. They understand what my priorities are and they support that. And so what I would tell other firm owners or other leaders is like, I think one of the things that they often lack is they don't invest in their people. Invest in the people you work with. I mean, I can tell you that has absolutely paid dividends for me. And what does that mean to invest in them? It means a couple things. It means understanding their life, understanding their world as well, understanding what's important to them. Maybe they want additional training. Maybe they want additional education. I support that by paying for it. Whether they stay with me or not is not the issue. Mm-hmm. The issue is giving everyone so we have a joke in our office, which is no matter what position we hired you for, I promise you that's not where you're going to end up. And that is 100% accurate for everyone, myself included, everyone in the office. Nobody in their current position, that's not where they started, right? So my admin from 10 years ago, she's now director of operations, right? Yeah, making a really handsome salary and earning it. But earning it on the daily. One of my other administrative people, 4 years later, became my chief tax preparer because she's that good, right? And now she's training others. We've hired another CPA. My chief tax preparer is training him. So you give them the opportunity to grow. Also, invest in their mistakes. What do I mean by that? Holding them accountable to mistakes only to the point where you're not getting angry about it. Like, what are we learning from that? I take responsibility for the mistakes because they won't take risks. They won't make decisions. You give them ownership of their work. Give them that ownership. And I encourage them, come to me with your solution. Propose whatever solution you want. I will let you know if it's right or wrong, but I want to hear your thought process. I want to hear where you go with it. Because if I don't, then I don't know where you need coaching. I don't know where you need assistance. So I don't make them take responsibility for whatever the mistakes are. That's my responsibility, but I give them all the credit for when they succeed. That's investing in your team, trusting them trusting them with your work, your sensitivity, whatever it is, like empowering them to have some control over it relieves me of having to have all the control so that I can do other things within the firm context and help the firm grow and help all of us have the kind of lifestyle that we want. But that takes an investment. When you do that as a business owner, as a leader, as an executive in your CPA firm, you will find that suddenly you have time you didn't think you were going to have. Mm-hmm. And have, you know, the mission has got to be, you know, you say drink the Kool-Aid here, but like if we're all working towards a common goal, and our marching orders are very simple here: client service, client outreach, client communication. That's a hallmark. You know, I can't stand it how many times I'll get, you know, potential clients who are prospecting me, and I ask them, why are you changing accounts? Because they never call me back. And I don't understand that. We live and die by the phone here. Communication is everything.
Everything.
So so because it's important to me, it's important to them. And what's important to them becomes important to me. And we figure it out together. We are a team. You know, and maybe that's a little too close for some people, but try it. If what you're doing now isn't working, try it.
Well, and I think this leads us right into what everything that I just heard is basically wrapped up in one word, which is mentorship. Yeah. And I think one of the things that I personally think accountants, finance and accounting people I'm generalizing, but this is about as stereotypical as it gets. And stereotypes are there for a reason. Yeah. We're not very good at letting other people in. And what I mean by that is that once we attain a certain level of expertise or level of gravitas, if you will, it's almost like we need to protect it. It's like, no, get away. I've earned this. You didn't earn this. I got here by myself. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. There was somebody over here that gave you a piece of wisdom, pulled you up, and allowed you to arrive at where you are now. And so, did you ever thank them? Did you ever take them out to lunch? What about the people around you, your coworkers that helped you build that body of work, that you just happened to be in the right place at the right time and you got credit for it, you got elevated? Did you ever thank them?
You understand that 100%. That's exactly right.
The CPAs are not islands. And, but sometimes we treat ourselves like that. And I mean, again, pointing the finger in, because we are so driven to be excellent at what we do that we feel like once we get that excellence, that we have to kind of protect it from, like, defend it from everybody else. Like, don't take a piece of me. Don't take a piece of me. Where I think, and what I just heard from you, is that we should be sharing everything of us to anybody who wants it, because they're salivating for it. There's something different about you that I want to be. I want to emulate you in some form or fashion, whether it's the personality, whether it's the expertise, whether it's the way you wear your shoes, whatever, the laugh, the way you drink coffee, whatever it is. Whatever it is, they look at you and they go, I want whatever that is he's got. I want some of it. And so if you go, no, it's mine, Heisman that. Yeah. The question is like, why? Why are you so insecure with all of this stuff that you've earned and you've attained? You should be willing to dole it out upon any moment. In fact, dole it out so much that people are like, stop. I get it. You love this stuff. You love us. It's great. It's not so much that HR has to get involved, but you know what I mean. But there's a point there where you arrive in your career and you look around and you go, what happened? That's when you turn around and you look around the people below you and you say, by the way, not below you, in stat, but just in growth, and you say, maybe my job now is that now that I've reached the peak of where I am, is to go and help the people climb this mountain that I've already
100%.
And so come on up. There's room at the top. Come on. And what does that do for us? Remember those pipeline problems everybody was complaining about?
Yeah.
If you elevate these people, what's going to happen? There's people underneath them that will get elevated.
They're
and all of a sudden, there's space everywhere for people to get jobs to come up. And what do you have? You now have taken your dinner plans, changed them out for succession plans. So now you can go and do all the things that you wanted to do and trust the people around you, because you basically have made disciples of people. And now you crush it. You get it. So the joke in my office, also, there's many jokes in this office, but one of them that is more true than a joke is that I'm only right about 50% of the time in this office. And so what the
The important thing to know about that is that we collaborate every day. Like, I don't need to be right. And in fact, I don't want to be the smartest guy in the office. What I want is a team of collaborators so that we can run stuff by. And I learn all the time. I learn from everybody. But that's exactly right. Mentorship is giving somebody the opportunity to, and I had that experience with when I was coming up in a CPA firm. I and even when I was in college, but when I was coming up in a CPA firm, my communication style, my style of practice, 100% mirrors Stephen Holstein, who I had basically grown up with, in his accounting firm, because I loved his approach. I saw how successful he was with it. And then I also saw, like, I think my personality kind of meshes with that in a way that I could also manage that. He had a tremendous facility for language. He was an English teacher, I think, before he was a CPA, or maybe he was a history teacher. But I mean, he really had a great command of language. He taught me how to communicate in a way that doesn't involve emotion, that just involves fact patterns and how to elicit certain responses. And I remember the day. I mean, and this was before, he passed away in 1995, but this was a time he was in the office, maybe a year or so before that, and I was drafting a memo or some communication for a client on some technical matters and I remember handing him the memo just for him to kind of review and make sure I covered everything and just make sure he approved. And I remember he looked at it, he handed it back to me, and he says, "There's nothing I can do to improve upon this." And it's not a bragging moment other than to say, I feel that gave me the confidence to understand what was important in practice. Communicate. It's not enough to know your shit. Yeah. It's more important to understand how to communicate that effectively so that action can be taken on it. That is a skill set most accountants that I know fail epically.
Yes, 100%.
They don't know. They do not know how to communicate their information. They're not good at even just the basic communications of eye contact, handhold, shaking hands, all these things that the physical part of it, the body language. And I even in the written communication, I see it all the time. I'm not saying I'm the best at it, but I think I have a leg up.
Well, here's a little anecdote for you. So I was at a small firm in Tallahassee, and one of the partners who I was working with at the time, when you thought CPA, you would think of this guy, right? Yay tall, glasses, suit, things like that, right? And one day we were at a client. We were in the insurance industry, so normally we had to wear we wore what the client wore, right? So normally we were in suits, or at least open collar, what have you. Yeah. And I remember he came in. He had a big board meeting that day for like the Office of Insurance Regulation or something like that. And he comes in and he takes off his jacket. It was a blue suit, right? Takes off his jacket. And I noticed it's like he's got a black belt on, like black belt, blue suit. I was like, okay, well that's kind of like a fashion faux pas, but okay, you know what? That's fine. I looked down at his shoes. He's got brown shoes on, and I was like, okay, bro. I told him, I said,
get your shoe game on.
All due respect, you know that when you buy shoes, they sell belts. Like they literally sell belts that are the same color, and that you need to match those. That's like fashion 101 in business, that you match the shoes to the belt, right? It's like these are tiny little things that can get you much further, because when you walk into a room as a partner of a firm and you take off your jacket and people look at that, they go, "Oh, this guy doesn't have it together." That's what you're giving them before you ever say a word. You are saying that. Like it used to be one of those things where I remember distinctly. We were in Rhode Island. I had a staff come in. And he comes in and his shirt was all wrinkly because we traveled up there, right? And his shirt was all wrinkly. And I said, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Oh, I'm going to get to work." I was like, "No, you're not. You're going to go back to the hotel. You're going to iron that shirt, and you're going to come back." What's the big deal? It's like the big deal is that the perception is that if you're sloppy, your books are sloppy, and I can't have that perception. It's a full package, bro. It's a full package. It's like those little things. Did I sound like a jerk that day? 100%. I was a jerk that day because he was making me look bad, which is making our firm look bad, right? And whether you like it or not, if you are the staff, if you're the intern on the engagement, you wear the same logo as everybody else in the firm, but everybody thinks you're the partner. Everybody thinks you're the partner. So you have to make sure from top to bottom, everybody buys into this thing, right? And so what I'm saying here is that as you look at as you're developing your firm, if you're one of those 40 people in that room that's listening to you talk about this, it's like, and all of a sudden the epiphany is, yes, I need to let things go. Yes, I need to be a better communicator. Yes, I need to make sure that that the people around me can that they can understand me, not that I can understand them. I need to change the language. I need to balance it out. If that's what we're trying to accomplish here, then I think our work, Tim Naddy, Marc Egort, people like us, our work is to talk to our peers who don't understand this just yet and teach them how to communicate to those around them. Because I think that once we do that, once CPAs, and again, I keep going back to CPAs. We can talk about accountants. There's accountants all over the place, and a lot of them aren't CPAs, okay? But if you're gonna be a CPA, you are wearing the crown jewel of our profession, which means that everybody looks at those 3 letters and says, that person knows their stuff, right? Which means that you are technically savvy in what you're bringing to the table, but can you communicate it? Can you? We talked about sounds, we talked about smells, we talked about what visually what it looks like. Sure. I mean, I don't think we're allowed to touch things, but the point is that, and really don't want to taste a lot of things. But if you start looking at holistically, what are we doing? We're bringing a package to the table that says, I see you, and I can communicate on your level. And if that's what you like about me, then let's crank out more of them, so that they can rise. But rising tide things up, lifts all boats. Yeah. Yeah. Let's bring them all up, teach that to the people behind them, and just start shattering this old mold of I'm just this stodgy accountant. Leave me alone. I know what I'm doing, because that's gone. That whole motif it's got to be jettisoned from our career paths.
Agreed. You know, part of the appeal of CPAs, you know, like you pointed out, there's a presumption that goes into it for the general public or the business public who understands what CPA stands for and what it is, whether there's a branding identity issue or not. There's a presumption that we have a certain skill set. And the truth is, I was able to get much more involved, much more lucrative types of work as a result of being a CPA.
Sure.
Whether, you know, they didn't know if I had the experience with it or not. Hey, Mark, I've got this M&A thing coming up here. I was, you know, at the time when I went on my own, I was actually a healthcare consultant doing reimbursement consulting and compliance reporting. And then suddenly, oh, you're a CPA. By the way, I need you to handle this tax return. I need you to. I'm selling this company. Can you help them with due diligence? Or we've got a merger going on here. I need to understand, you know, all these come out. Like, it just happened. It just morphed that way. But that's the point, right? There's a presumption that our technical skills are married to our abilities to get this done. And then what's left? What's left are the people you want to work with. So I tell anybody who is prospecting me as a potential accountant for them or a CPA or professional service, like, look, make the assumption that this doctor understands what this doctor understands. This attorney knows what this attorney knows. This accountant knows the same thing this accountant knows. In the end, who do you want to work with? What is a working style for you that makes sense? That is what I tell, you know, potential clients. I may not be the right fit for you, and that is okay. We can still be friends. It's fine. This is the way I operate. If you're looking for someone to respond to a text to you at 9 o'clock at night, don't hire me. It's not going to be me ever. All right. That's just not who I am. I have other priorities. Work is important. Work is a priority. I also have working hours, right? So, I mean, you kind of have to establish your style or understand what's important to you in your communication process, right? It's not the same for everybody. And look, there are a lot of people who don't dig how I operate, and that is okay too. Like, okay. I'm an acquired taste, and that's okay. I will sit there, I'll talk to you about music all day, and I'll talk to you about where the best chicken wings are, and hey, what martial arts did you train in today? And it doesn't matter. It's all good.
But Mark, that's so normal.
Sure it is. Whatever that means normal. Okay. Let me know how that works.
So birds of a feather, right? So we have a bunch of talent that's coming out of the university system. I don't think that they're wholly prepared to take on the roles that they are being asked to do, and so I want to kind of shift gears and talk about these incoming classes. We talk about pipeline all the time,
Yep.
and how there's this I don't know, there's this not enough talent coming through, and so there's a problem. We have to, first of all, that's not an issue. There's plenty of talent out there. It's just a matter of, are we going to make spaces for them? Are we growing people, like the whole mountain thing, right? But as these individuals start coming out of school unprepared, wholly unprepared, the question is, like, when you pull them in and you're teaching them these things, first of all, what's from your perspective? Because I think you speak for, even though you're different personality-wise from a lot of CPAs, I think you speak for CPAs in the sense that what's the value that we're trying to instill in the younger generation that's coming up and basically going to be taking over our firms in the future, right? Right. So as these juniors and seniors are coming in, they're interviewing, they're saying, they're like, Mr. Egort, can you tell me what do I need to do in order to be successful in this world? I don't feel like I'm prepared. What are the steps that I need to take in order for me to be where you are someday?
Right. Yeah. So a lot of that starts with, two things. One is asking questions and listening. You're not going to come into, part of it is their, I don't want to use the word sense of entitlement, but their expectation, right? Right.
Yeah.
So I can give you an example. So, we've hired somebody who has maybe a year or so experience at Price Waterhouse. Then they have another year or so experience. They're a CPA, right? Mm-hmm. They got out of school, they knew nothing. And so what happens? So they go into these big firms. But these big firms now, they don't give them foundational work anymore, because that work now goes overseas to India or goes overseas. So, right. So, but that is what's happening. So we have to now, they come to us, they don't have foundational training. So I have to put together a work course on how to read a financial statement, right? How to go, like, what is an asset? An asset is what you own. What are liabilities? Really get some fundamentals in there, but through repetition, through process. And look, it's going to take patience on our part. We can't be impatient with them. We've hired them to help us, but the truth is we need to know, like, we have a responsibility for that as well, and we have to help them. We have to give them a sense that there's a purpose for this, and all of this work, whether it feels like grunt work or whether it feels like a little bit more, above your pay grade, all has a purpose for the larger picture of, if you want to have a career in public accounting, understand first that the benefits of having a career in public accounting is you get to see a lot. Even in a small coffee and donut shop like mine, you see a lot of stuff. We don't see everything, but you see a lot. Yes. So you get the benefit of that experience, and also the evolution. Like, my CPA firm is not what it was 5 years ago. It wasn't even what it was last year. It's constantly evolving because technology is evolving, expectations are evolving. The types of work that we would do out of here is now getting fundamentally sent out, whatever it is. So we have to be patient in the process. And again, it goes back to investing in those people. Mm-hmm. A CPA firm is about people. It's about providing a professional grade, professional level service to a people, a company, whatever it is. But underneath it all, it's your interaction with the clients, with the people. We're service. Service comes first. Service comes to the top. That means being accessible, being available, being able to ask questions, being able to answer questions, being able to accumulate information, being able to problem solve. What does problem solve mean? It means being able to understand what is the crux of that problem and weed out what's not, right? So it's the opportunities to mentor are there. They need to have a different impression of what public accounting practice is, though, right? Sure. They come in thinking, I'm going to work a gazillion hours, they're going to work me, they're going to grind me. It doesn't have to be that way. It's not that way in my firm, but I think the impression out there of students coming in is that, look, if you go work for one of these big firms, if you have the grades for that, they're just going to grind you, they're going to work you. I think it would be helpful if the big firms also recognized and understood that we're all responsible for the pipeline, and we are all responsible for the credentialing opportunities, and we're all responsible for getting these people up to become leaders in this field. But they don't really see what the benefit is to them. They want either a quick and easy, I'm going to go into investment banking, or I'm going to go into finance. They don't have a complete understanding of what a career in public accounting can do for them. Even if they don't make it their full life career, but at least take the stepping stone to it. I didn't know I was going to have a career in public accounting. I knew that I wanted to start there because it could, it can evolve into all different types of opportunities. But I had a professor at Georgia Tech who basically, let's just say when my commitment to the accounting curriculum was waning, I remember she said to me, it's like, look, you don't have to practice in public accounting, but if you're looking to be in business, these are the problem-solving skills you want in business. This is the language of business. Just understand that, and you can do whatever you want with it. I'm like, that makes sense. That's all I needed to understand. That made sense.
Yeah. So I'm curious. Earlier you said you're a drummer. You're also into martial arts. Bring that back into how that assists you in your client service. Not just the physicality of being able to just kick the shit out of somebody. But
that doesn't quite work like that. So a lot of
the one punch, boom, right?
So anything that you do in any kind of training, right? Yeah. It is mindset, I think, more than anything else. So so even within different martial arts systems, there are different mindsets in that approach, in that training. And so it's understanding. So if you take martial arts, for example, as a journey, because
you should.
It's my personal belief you don't ever master it, right? Because there's always something new to learn. It's like the same thing in your like golf, right? But it's the same thing in your professional journey, right? You're taking your clients on a journey with you, right? And it's if you truly feel or indicated that you've mastered something, I think you're missing the big picture, right? We're not really all masters. We don't own the information. We're borrowing it, we're sharing it, we're paying it forward. So that the journey gives you a perspective that you are not the cream of the crop. There's always somebody bigger, better, taller, faster, stronger, smarter, right? So there's, the humanity that goes with it is, it translates, to me, it translates from humanity and humility to empathy. The most successful leaders, I feel, particularly in the CPA world, are those who have that attribute of empathy, which is to put yourself in your client's space, in their head
100%,
space.
100%.
There's a process in martial arts where you're kind of doing that as well. Understanding where your opponent may be coming from, understanding where the aggressor may be coming from. It's mindset. There's a psychology that goes to that. There's assessments you have to make to decide if this is an engagement you want to take, both in that world and in your professional world. So there's a lot of, that Venn diagram is wide with that. And I appreciate that, it's part of vetting, right? There should be a vetting process when you're potentially working with new clients, but certainly as you take your client on this journey in your practice, that translates even in my musical journey. Like when I thought I was good enough as a musician, like, no, you keep training, you keep studying, you watch other drummers, like you're always learning. And I enjoy watching other drummers. I want to see what they do. Doesn't mean I'm going to do it. Doesn't mean I even have the techniques to do it. But the point was I made a decision that I'm satisfied with my level of playing, right? If I'm playing for 50 years, like you like it or you don't, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me. I will always find a way to play. In martial arts, like I've just come to understand that for as many years as I'm doing it, I have not, there's always more to learn. Whether you argue if I've mastered something or not, it doesn't matter. There's always something new to learn. You're on that journey to take another step to make an improvement someplace.
So in that journey you're talking about of kind of self-discovery and getting nuggets of wisdom and assimilating those into your overall experience. If you were to just speak to, we're speaking to younger professionals coming into our profession, our beautiful depression, profession, whoops. Them coming into our profession, but then also our colleagues around us who are also at our level or close to it, right? What you just talked about. Give some last minute wisdom to the people who are out there who maybe maybe they are CPAs, maybe they're growing to be a CPA. They want to be inside this ecosphere. And just what is your nugget for success for people coming in or the people that are around us? I think that's what I'm trying to get to is we're all the same, if you will, but we're all at different parts of our journey.
So yeah, and that's exactly the point. We are all at different parts of our journey. So I wouldn't necessarily, view someone up and coming. There's different experiences you would impart on them versus somebody who may be a colleague or somebody who, may be in practice for close to as many years as I have, or even more, but still have a different approach to things. So, it all kind of starts with me. It's like, well, what do you want? Like, what are you looking for out of this? And let's design something around that. So certainly for new staff members or team members that I have here, we've kind of designed together. Like, I don't make the goals for them. I want to understand what they want. So if I have team members that want to be an enrolled agent, or I have team members who want to be CPAs, all right, what's our pathway to get there? And let's talk about the kind of, so if we focus on the work that I'm expecting from them, I have to help them understand I got to give them a pathway to success, right? So I don't want them to feel intimidated by it, but I want to encourage questions. So one of the things I did, for example, for one of our newer staff members, I said, let's carve out an hour every week and let's do some role playing, right? So for example, because at some point, he's going to be sitting in front of a client and answering questions. And I said, look, 90% of the questions I get are very consistent, right? So our client might want to know what's the difference between being an S Corp and an LLC. I want to understand something about compensation. I want to understand about this type of deduction. I have a business. What do I need to know? So we're going to role play 1 hour a week or a half hour a week, and I'm going to ask questions, and we're going to go back and forth and talk about how to address it, how to approach that, how to make it accessible to the client, right? And get his mindset understanding the client may have only a certain capacity, and we have to understand how to reach that, right, successfully. For someone who has, who's gotten to a point in their career and maybe they're not sure that they're doing this in a way that's consistent with their goals, or they have other types of plans or design, or they can't get to things that are important to them. Let's understand what the barriers are for that, and we just have conversation. Like, so if you want to be able to do this, are you able to, or have you considered making an investment in maybe this technology or this type of staff member or this process, whatever it might be? I don't know. We're just having conversation.
Yeah.
It's just asking questions. And I think the more questions I'm able to ask of them, the more direct our pathway can be. And so I really do think from a leadership standpoint, a lot of it is just being able to ask questions and have that dialogue. And I think it's really super important to have that open communication.
And be authentic and genuine when you're answering those questions, right? I mean,
100%.
Yeah. The last thing you want is just to give kind of a story, and then all of a sudden it's like, but that's what they remember, and that they repeat it. They don't really have any context for it, right? So,
right.
No, I think this has been a really fun time. I think that you have a different appeal inside the CPA world. It certainly resonates with me, and that's one of the reasons why we're talking today. But I just wish you the most success down there in sunny Florida, because there's a whole bunch of people down there that need your refreshing approach to the CPA world. So let's say there's a client out here that might be listening to, or maybe a potential experienced person who wants to come and work with you. How do they get in touch with you?
I think the best way is to reach out to my office. So you can go to my website, egortcpa.com. There's contact information there. They can call the office and speak to me directly. I'm always happy to and interested in talking to people about, like I said, tell me everything. I think it's one of the most enjoyable parts of practice is just, I love to just hear their stories. I want to know what's important to them. What can I do to be supportive, right? That was part of when I moved to Fort Lauderdale. Like, I made a commitment to be a member of the community. And to be a member of the community means being a resource to as many people as you can. I can't solve everyone's problems. I can't maybe always answer the questions, but let me connect you to someone who can. Or let me see if my experience benefits you someplace. That is the role of mentorship, right? If I have experiences, good and bad, and believe me, I will tell them the too. I've had many mistakes. It's not a perfect system, but that's important. I'm not willing to listen to a teacher or a mentor or someone who is not leading with their mistakes. I want to know, lead with your mistakes, because what did we learn from that? Then I know we can connect.
I love it. I love it. So, okay. So when I'm down in the Fort Lauderdale area, I'm going to call up Mark and be like, hey, I need some wisdom. We're going to go get some chicken wings, or we're going to have a little
we are.
out on the back, just a little bit of this,
We are.
right? So
we are. We're going to have a great time. I promise.
Marc Egort of Marc Egort CPA. I really appreciate you coming on Business Biceps and BS. And you know, can we get one of these just before we leave? There it is, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Hey, thank you so much. And
thank you so much.
On the flip side, baby.
Appreciate it. Look forward. Be well.
Bye-bye.